October 5th, 1970, Los Angeles. The day after Janis Joplin died, Kris Kristofferson was sitting in Paul Rothschild's office. The producer had asked him to come by. He had something he wanted him to hear. He pressed play, and Kris Kristofferson heard Janis Joplin sing his song for the first time. "I had to leave the room," he said later. It was impossibly hard to hear. There was so much love and emotion going into the song, and then knowing that she wasn't there to enjoy that. I left his office and walked around the block. I don't know where I walked. He spent the rest of that day walking through Los Angeles, alone, crying, not knowing where he was going. The song he had written had just become the most important thing he would ever be connected to, and the person who had done that was gone. She had died 9 days after recording it. He had not known she recorded it until the day after she died. He was in Peru. To understand why that walk meant what it meant, you have to understand who Kris Kristofferson was in 1970. He had been a Rhodes Scholar, an Army helicopter pilot, a Ranger-qualified paratrooper. He had been offered a position teaching English at West Point. He turned it down. He wanted to write songs. His family was furious. His first wife left him. He moved to Nashville. He worked odd jobs. He cleaned bathrooms at Columbia Records, Nashville studio, the same studio where Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan recorded. Kris Kristofferson cleaned their bathrooms. He kept writing. For years, nothing happened. Then Roger Miller recorded Me and Bobby McGee in 1969. Then Kenny Rogers, then Gordon Lightfoot. The song was traveling. By 1970, Kristofferson had gone from cleaning bathrooms to having the most covered song in Nashville. The song had started as an assignment. Fred Foster called one night and said, "I've got a song title for you, Me and Bobby McGee." Kristofferson thought he said McGee. He wrote it as McGee. Bobby McGee was a real person, the secretary of a Nashville songwriter. She had no idea. The deeper inspiration was a Fellini film. A man abandons a woman by the side of a road while she sleeps. Years later, he finds out she died. He goes to a bar and howls at the stars. That feeling, the two-edged sword that freedom is. That's where freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose came from. But Kristofferson didn't give Janis the song. He was in Peru filming Dennis Hopper's movie The Last Movie. He had no idea what was happening in Los Angeles. Bob Newworth was the one. He was in New York at the office of Bob Dylan's manager. Gordon Lightfoot happened to be there. He took out his guitar. He played Me and Bobby McGee. Newworth heard it. He thought of Janis. That night he met up with her and taught her the song over dinner. She played it at a concert in Nashville in December 1969. She told the audience, "This is a song by a good friend of mine. He's going to be very famous in about, I give him a year." She was right. She gave him exactly 1 year. In exactly 1 year, his song would be #1. In her voice. After her death. This song already knows me. I don't know how a song that wasn't written for me can know me this well, but it does. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Port Arthur, San Francisco, every leaving, every being left. That line is my whole life. October 1st, 1970. She recorded Me and Bobby McGee at Sunset Sound. She changed the words. Bobby became a man. She changed phrasing. She made it looser and more intimate. Privately, Kristofferson cringed at the changes. He was precise about his lyrics. She was improvising. He cringed. And then he heard it, and he understood. She started with acoustic guitar. The song begins quietly, then it builds, her voice finding the song, the band finding her. By the end, the band is going at it so feverishly they have nowhere else to go but to suddenly stop. Record World called it a perfect matching of performer and material. It was perfect because she hadn't matched herself to the material. She had matched the material to herself. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Kristofferson had written it about a man who abandoned a woman. Janis sang it about herself, about Port Arthur, about Brazil, about the silence that never filled. Nothing left to lose. She sang it like she knew what it meant. She did. She finished. Rothschild said, "That's it. Perfect. Done." 3 days later she was gone. The tape sat waiting. 9 days. October 5th. Paul Rothschild called Kristofferson. He had just flown back from Peru. Come to the office. He had something for him to hear. Kristofferson sat down. Rothschild pressed play, and Kris Kristofferson heard Janis Joplin's voice for the first time singing his song, the song he had written about a Fellini film, now sung by a woman from Port Arthur who had been dead for 1 day. "This isn't my song anymore. It was never really my song." She took it and gave it somewhere it was always trying to go. The line about freedom, I wrote that, but she knew what it meant. I was describing it. She was living it. Past tense now. I had to leave the room. He walked through Los Angeles for the rest of the day. No destination, no plan. It was impossibly hard to hear. There was so much love and emotion going into the song, and then knowing that she wasn't there to enjoy that. Me and Bobby McGee reached #1 in March 1971, Janis Joplin's only #1 single, 5 months after her death, the second posthumously released #1 in American chart history. She had told the Nashville crowd, "He's going to be very famous in about a year." She gave him exactly a year. She just didn't know she wouldn't be there to see it. He died in 2023, 53 years after that walk through Los Angeles. In every one of those 53 years, every time he sang the song, he thought of Janis. She had taken his song and made it something he couldn't fully claim anymore. It was hers. It had always been hers. He just wrote it down. Have you ever made something and had it find someone who needed it more than you knew? Kristofferson wrote about freedom costing everything. He was writing about a Fellini film. Janis Joplin heard it and said, "This is mine." And she was right. The best things sometimes find the person they were always meant for, even when the writer didn't know, even when the only way they connect is through a dinner in New York and a recording booth in Hollywood and a walk through Los Angeles where a man doesn't know where he's going. Me and Bobby McGee reached #1 on March 20th, 1971. Kris Kristofferson was alive to see it. Janis Joplin was not. But her voice was there. It still is. Every time anyone sings the song, she's still there. Nothing left to lose. Nothing left to lose. Nothing left to lose. Subscribe. The next story goes somewhere nobody has taken you before.